So now that we have this SQL statement, we want to call this SQL statement from our code instead of calling the controller that we previously had. So let's go ahead and copy this and look back at our code. And essentially that SQL statement replaces the entire collect order details controller. So I'm going to go on the limb here and delete it and look for where it was called, and we can see it was called over here. And instead of calling it, I'm going to say this: shared data source Northwind1, that's the connection we've been using, and execute, and here I can send it an SQL statement. So I'm going to add an @ sign over here, and I'm going to paste our entire SQL statement. Now first of all, notice that when you are comparing lines of code, we actually reduced the number of lines of code than we had before. We're going to see it in a second when we compare. But let's go ahead and run this and see the results that we're getting. I don't know if you remember, but previously the original process took 2.2 seconds, and now it takes 0.196. It's that fast. Let's run it with a profiler. And it's done. Let's compare the profilers. So this is the profiler of what we call the after, and this is the profiler of what we call the before. Put it here on the right. Perfect. So if previously collect order details took 2.56 seconds, we replace it with an SQL statement that takes 21 milliseconds. That's it. So we achieved a 100-factor improvement just by doing the refactorings that we've done right now. We actually reduced the number of queries to the database from, let's say, 4, 6, 8,000 queries to 1. 8,000 statements reduced to just one statement. Let's go ahead and compare the code. Even when you consider the number of lines of code, if we compare the changes, we can actually see the change that we've done. Instead of calling the executing the collect order details class, we replace it with executing an SQL statement. And when you compare the total lines of code, we got it down by 80 lines of code less. Okay, so we have shorter code and we have faster running code. Now, this is of course a watered down demo of something that we had in a real life case. In that case, we were able to take something that used to take 2 minutes in Bitrev, I think 5 minutes in SQL, and it was reduced to less than 1 second based on the techniques that you've just seen in this series of videos. So I hope you'll enjoy it, and I hope you'll use it well, and have fun.